Cancer, welcome to Monarch Intuition, and today I'm going to be doing your personality assessment through the tarot cards. So this is very important to understand your base energy versus your highest good energy. So these are kind of like mini readings right here. They're not exactly readings, but you can gain some sort of enlightenment, okay? So your base self is the Two of Cups and your highest self is the Queen of Cups, and looking towards the Chariot and the Moon card. These two cards will help you gain enlightenment throughout your life, and these are the two energies that you can glean information from. So when we look at the Two of Cups, why is this your base energy? Because Cancer, you have two sides to you. You have a very nurturing side, but you also have the siren side, the very seductive, alluring side to get what you want. Cancers are very good empathic people, however, they can use fake empathy. So this card actually has a symbol of black magic on it. A lot of people don't pay attention to that, but there is a symbol right here called the Staff of the Sadducees. So Hermes was a psychopomp, basically a Grim Reaper, right? And he was in love, had a relationship, a pseudo-relationship with the goddess Hecate. Hecate ruled black magic. She ruled occultic arts and necromancy. Hermes also had the powers of necromancy and the powers of occultic arts. Hermes was also a trickster. He was someone who was benevolent to travelers, but what you have to understand is that he was a Grim Reaper. So he guided the souls in their journeys to their destinations when they went to the underworld, right? So he gave them safe travels in the underworld. So when we look at the Staff of the Sadducees, we have to understand that what are you guiding people towards? Are you guiding them towards enlightenment, towards this motherly nurturing energy that you do have? Or are you trying to trick them? Are you trying to play games with their minds and with their hearts right here? Cancers are very good at emotional manipulation, all right? Because it is ruled by the goddess Hecate. And the goddess Hecate, or the moon energy, was a master of black magic, okay? And that's what you have to understand about the Cancerian energy. It's not just like this, oh, Cancers cry so much, oh, Cancers love things. No, Cancers have a very wicked, evil side to themselves that generally they try to suppress. Sometimes it's very hard to look at that side of yourself, Cancer, and say that it exists, because a lot of Cancers are like, oh, I don't have that side, but it tends to erupt at like the most inopportune times, all right? You generally tend to bottle everything in until the last moment you're like, all right, now I gotta pinch you. Instead of just expressing your emotions, Cancer, you bottle them up a lot like Scorpio. Now, you will cry, but it's generally not in front of people who you don't know. You will, try to seek some sort of consolation by yourself when no one else is looking. So when we look at this Three of Cups right here, this is you wanting everyone to have a good time. This is you wanting to engage with the community that's around you. However, what you have to understand with the Three of Cups is that it represents a coven underneath Hecate, right? Hecate had the three faces, and then you have the Three Cups right here, also represented by the number 3. So 333, right? What you need to understand is that you have to find people who have like minds as you. You should not be going and giving your cups and your attention and your time to people, even if you are emotionally manipulating them, who don't serve you in any way, shape, or form, okay? You might want to save people and you might want to help people, but that is not generally what you are supposed to do within this life, okay? You need to find people who are like minds, people who share the same vision and the same ideas, and then try to nurture those relationships. But ultimately, you have to start the relationships off with healthy boundaries and healthy attitudes. You can't think, okay, well, I'm just trying to gain control over all of these people. And that's what you have to understand, is that when we look at the Cancerian energy, there are signs of the zodiacs who I call emotional vampires, people that can prey off of people's, subconscious state. You have to really control that energy about you, Cancer, because you have this ability to gain people and hypnotize them and bring them towards you, but are you doing it for the right good? Now, with this Four of Cups right here, when we look at the 3 cups that are on the ground and the 1 cup that's being offered, sometimes you have to have the emotional boundaries to not offer people cups who don't want to take them from you. Because when we see these 3 cups sitting on the ground right here, this represents you having your party with the 3 people, and you're trying to invite more people into this coven, into this ideology. However, Cancer, what you have to understand is that there are people who can read the negative moonlight energy off of you if you're coming from this base energy, and they don't trust it. And they might turn around and lash out at you in a very malicious manner, okay? Now, even when you're coming from a good place, some people do not trust you, Cancer. Some people have fight or flight emotions, all right? And this is not a read for you. This is like what we're trying to talk about. Some people do not trust this moonlight Hecate energy, okay? So what is your best interest is to allow people to come into your energy, all right? Allow people to be nurtured by you, Cancer, but they have to seek and find you. The queens, especially the Queen of Cups, do not move from their throne except the Queen of Wands. That is the only queen that will get off of her throne to do something. Everyone else sits on their thrones and waits for the subjects to come towards them. And you have to understand this through many series of heartbreaks in your life. How are you ruining connections for yourself, okay? Are you trying to come off as this mysterious moonlight energy? Are you trying to embody this Hecate energy? And do people trust it? Do people trust you? Because that's the mystery of Cancer. Who are you? When we look at the full moon, it represents insanity. It represents, mental disorders and black magic. When we look at the moonlight energy, it's a very sinister, treacherous card. It controls the tides. Even people at hospitals, doctors, nurses, whatever, they mark the full moon down on the calendar as a time period that's going to be very bad time. Mental patients are going to act up. People are going to get injured more than often. People are going to start acting more crazy. So you need to temper this energy with the moonlight, okay? You need to have healthy boundaries. You need to have healthy connections with other people. Do not try to use the staff of the Sadducees when you're trying to start a relationship. Now, I understand that it can be very, drunk off power when you recognize this about yourself, Cancer. You might be using this on a lot of different people. You're like, well, I can get my own way. However, you have to understand that eventually the sun will come out, all right? Eventually this shadow will fade away, and you don't want to be the person being called out right here. In fact, what you're supposed to be doing, Cancer, is helping people see this mystery, okay? Because what we can look at right here is the Queen of Cups representing the Celestial Mother. The Celestial Mother is someone who can see the dangers and guide people away from them. Kind of like a mother watching over her child. Like, obviously, if the stove is hot, you're going to tell them, don't touch the stove. Obviously, if they don't look both ways before they cross the street, you're going to scold them and tell them. That's what you need to understand right there, Cancer, is that you can take care of people because you can see the sinister machinations behind the moonlight. You can consult with it, you can see it, and you can guide people away from it. That's something that's very important. You can also use it for yourself. However, there's always a negative repercussion by using moonlight energy, all right? Now, we have this Chariot card right here, symbolizing cheating death, all right? This can also represent moving forward, moving very quickly within your life. It can also be seen as, I know that this card is a male. However, in the biblical aspects, there was a woman who was clothed with the sun. She had the crown of stars above her head, and she was standing on the moon. And she was supposed to give birth to this child that was going to be consumed by the dragon, and that's what waged the war in heaven, right? This charioteer is kind of dressed in a similar manner. He has the moon on his shoulders. He has the star of enlightenment above his head. What you need to understand is that you can give people grand victories within your life, okay? But it does require you to move away from this negative polarity of yourself, this negative, I want to control everything. I want to control people's emotions, control people's situations. And that's something that can be very odd about Cancers, is that you have a way of manipulating people to start like cult-like ideologies, cult-like ideas. However, that's not very healthy, and you can even see that for yourself when it starts to pop up. You and Taurus can see these things when they're popping up very well. And you need to guide people away from those things, like that pastor's telling you to give up all of your jewelry. That pastor's telling you to have sex with him. That pastor is doing this. These religious figures are saying to do X, Y, and Z. No, you need to move away from that because you can see the wickedness in other people, all right? Because you can consult with the moonlight energy. I'm not saying to do it. I'm saying that it is something that has bothered you from a very early age. Maybe you're someone who can speak to apparitions. Maybe you're someone who's involved in, taboo types of magic. because the cups do represent, the female genitals. So it does have like this cup allure, siren-like quality behind it. So what you need to do, Cancer, is you need to give people victory. You need to help people. You need to arrive at the right time. Now, with this Queen of Cups, I'm not saying to go out and search these people out. However, if they come to you, if they start talking to you about these things, you need to deliver the harsh truth. You need to move their minds away from that situation if they are receptive to that. The Charioteer does represent moving very quickly and kind of cheating the idea of a physical death, being brought up into the chariot into heaven so your body never physically dies. So and that's something that you can do right there, Cancer, is that you can illuminate situations behind this moonlight mystery, all right? You can bring people out of the darkness if you so choose to, or you can turn the darkness into, kind of like your cloak and use it against other people. However, there is that polarity, there's that duality. Are you going to hurt the ones you love? Or are you going to hurt the people who've hurt the ones you love? That's something that you need to understand right there. I always call Cancer, I know it's bad to say, but it's kind of like Captain Save-A-Ho energy. Sometimes people don't want to be saved, Cancer, and that's what you have to understand. Like, all right, you don't want to be saved, cool. However, sometimes you have to show them mercy if, a situation arises. I would say Cancerians, Leos, and what's another one? Libras. I'm trying to think of the other one. Sagittarians. They're the more pacifist of the signs. And when I talk about pacifism, pacifists are someone who can cause a conflict, who can fight a situation out. They just choose not to. And that's what you have to understand about being the divine mother of the zodiac, is that it does sometimes call for conflict, but generally you need to stay in like this passive energy and work on what you're doing, work on your own craft, work on your own skills, nurturing situations, moving people away from situations, and trying to help people find the light if they need to consult with you. So anyway, Cancer, I hope you enjoyed this reading, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.